That evening, I walked through the doorway carrying discount grocery bags, and my daughter, Savannah, smirked right in front of her ambitious, wealthy fiancé. 2 days later, I walked into the boardroom of a dying corporation, put pen to paper, and changed the owner's name. When I appeared at the new headquarters, the entire marketing department fell silent because their new boss was the very woman they'd once looked down on for carrying those bargain bags. My name is Eleanor Whitaker. Nora, to those who've known me long enough to earn the privilege. At 58, I've learned that dignity isn't something you wear. It's something you carry in your spine, even when you're hauling clearance rack groceries through your daughter's luxury apartment building. I'd retired early from supply chain management 18 months ago, another casualty of strategic restructuring at Meridian Logistics. These days, I worked part-time at Cedar Glen Community Pantry, not because I needed the modest paycheck, but because watching families stretch their dollars reminded me why efficiency mattered more than appearances. My severance package sat mostly untouched in investment accounts, a fact my daughter Savannah neither knew nor would believe if I told her. That Thursday evening in October started like any other visit to help Savannah prepare for one of her dinner parties. The security guard at her building, Marcus, always helped me with my bags, the reusable ones from discount chains that embarrassed my daughter to her core. "Evening, Mrs. Whitaker," Marcus said, reaching for the heaviest bags. "Big dinner tonight." "The quarterly agency mixer," I replied, knowing Savannah would have preferred I arrive empty-handed rather than with contributions from budget stores. The elevator ride to the 23rd floor gave me time to inventory my Hall Store brand pasta, jarred sauce on clearance, day-old French bread from the discount bakery. Everything perfectly good. Everything perfectly mortifying to my daughter, who managed communications at Clover and Pine Markets, the region's self-proclaimed premier organic food retailer. I heard voices before the apartment door opened Savannah's practiced corporate laugh, mixing with deeper masculine tones. Cole Mercer answered my knock, his smile precisely calibrated between politeness and condescension. "Mrs. Whitaker," he said, stepping aside just enough that I had to squeeze past him. "Let me help you with those groceries." The pause before groceries stretched like a rubber band about to snap. Cole, vice president of regional marketing at 31, had perfected the art of making simple words sound like accusations. "I've got them," I said. But he'd already taken 2 bags, holding them away from his Tom Ford suit like they might contaminate it. The living room bloomed with young professionals in designer casual wear, each holding craft cocktails that probably cost more than my entire shopping trip. Savannah stood near the floor-to-ceiling windows, her highlighted hair catching the setting sun, gesturing animatedly to 3 women I recognized from her Instagram posts, the agency girls who worked at various marketing firms around the city. She saw me, and her expression shifted through 3 distinct phases: surprise, assessment, and decision. The decision, apparently, was damage control. "Mum," she said, crossing the room in her Louboutin heels, "you're early." "You said 6:30. I glanced at my Timex 6:28p. "I meant for you to come after everyone arrived." Her voice dropped to a whisper, but not low enough. "Could you maybe put those bags in the pantry, quickly?" One of the agency girls, a redhead with geometric earrings, perked up. "Oh, is this your mum?" "Sav. The one who does the community work." "Volunteer work," Savannah corrected, emphasizing volunteer, like it might elevate my status. "Mum helps out at a food pantry. Very charitable." How wonderful, the redhead cooed. Giving back is so important. Cole returned from the kitchen, having disposed of my bags like evidence. Nora here is quite the bargain hunter. You should see her work those coupons. It's like watching a general plan a campaign. His smile invited everyone to share the joke. The room rippled with polite laughter. Savannah's fingers tightened on her glass. Actually, Cole continued, warming to his audience. Just last week she tried to explain to me why buying generic was smart economics. I told her. Nora, there's a reason it's cheaper you get what you pay for. Mom's from a different generation, Savannah said, her smile bright and hard as bathroom tile. They didn't have the same opportunities we have. I stood there, hands empty now, watching my daughter choose her side. She'd picked her team, drawn her line, and placed me firmly on the other side of it. I should put the food away, I said. The housekeeper can handle it, Savannah said quickly, too quickly. Actually, Mum, could you do me a huge favour? I forgot to pick up the wine from Pemberton's. They close at 7. Pemberton's was 6 blocks away. The wine had been ordered 2 weeks ago. I'd heard her confirm it twice on phone calls. This wasn't forgetting. This was removal. Of course, I said. As I waited for the elevator, I heard Savannah through the door. Sorry about that, everyone. She means well, but you know how parents can be stuck in their ways. Marcus was still at his desk when I reached the lobby. Forget something, Mrs. Whitaker. Just stepping out for wine, I said. He studied my face. Those young people don't know value when they see it. I paused at the door. No, Marcus. But they're about to learn. The engagement party 2 weeks later was held at the Sterling Room, where crystal chandeliers cast rainbow fragments across tables worth more than most people's monthly rent. I arrived in my best dress, a navy piece from Macy's that I'd owned for 6 years, and watched Savannah's face tighten when she spotted me. Mum, you made it, she said, air-kissing my cheek, while her eyes scanned to see who might have witnessed my arrival. Let me introduce you to Cole's parents. The Mercers were everything their son aspired to be, moneyed, polished, and expertly dismissive. Cole's mother. Patricia, not to be confused with my lawyer friend Patricia Lang, looked at my dress like an appraiser examining a forgery. How lovely that Savannah's mother could join us, she said to the air above my left shoulder. Cole tells us you work in food service. I volunteer at a food pantry, I corrected. How charitable. The word dripped condescension like honey from a cracked jar. The evening progressed in carefully orchestrated segments. During the toast portion, the MC, one of Cole's fraternity brothers, decided to be colourful. When Cole first told me about Savannah, I said, Buddy, she's out of your league. But then I met her and realized she's the one who traded up from humble beginnings to the executive suite. It's the American dream. Folks. The room laughed. Savannah beamed. Cole launched into what he clearly thought was a hilarious story. You should see Nora Savannah's mom at the supermarket, he announced. 3 drinks, making him louder than necessary. Last month, I ran into her at Food Mart. She had this binder, I kid you not. An actual binder full of coupons. The checkout took 20 minutes. The cashier had to call a manager twice. There was a line behind us, and this one guy actually left his cart and walked out. The laughter rolled through the room like thunder. Savannah laughed too, her hand on Cole's arm, playing the good sport. Mum's very thorough, she added, getting her own laugh. I sat there, cutting my overpriced chicken into smaller and smaller pieces, and listened to my daughter turn me into a punchline. But the universe has a sense of timing. During the coffee service, I overheard something far more interesting than insults. Richard Lowry, an old contact from my Meridian days, was deep in conversation with another supplier near the bar. "Clover and Pine is hemorrhaging money," Richard said, not quite quietly enough. "Their cold chain is breaking down, had to dump 2 truckloads of organic produce last week. $40,000. Gone. Haven Rock Capital wants out," the other man replied. "They're shopping it quietly. Whoever buys it needs deep pockets and a miracle. Or someone who actually understands supply chain." Richard snorted. "That marketing kid Cole keeps signing celebrity partnerships while their distribution center can't maintain temperature controls. It's lipstick on a corpse." I excused myself to the restroom and made a call to Patricia Lang, the lawyer Patricia, not Cole's mother. "Pat, it's Nora. I need you to pull corporate filings for Clover and Pine Markets. It's 10:15 at night. And you're still at the office. I know you." She laughed. "What are you hunting?" "My dignity," I said, with interest. Back at the party, Savannah had saved the final humiliation for dessert. When servers brought out elaborate mini soufflés, she made a show of pulling me aside. "Mum, I set aside a to-go container for you in the kitchen. I know you like to save things for later." "That's thoughtful," I said. "Also," she lowered her voice, glancing around, "Cole and I discussed it, and we think it would be better if you didn't come to the wedding venue tours. You know how you get about prices, and we don't want the vendors to think we're bargain hunting. You're ashamed of me. I'm trying to build a life here, Mum. A real life, with real opportunities. I can't do that if—" She gestured vaguely at me, encompassing everything from my dress to my existence. "If people know where you came from, if people think I'm going backward instead of forward." She squeezed my hand with corporate-trained sincerity. "I love you, Mum. But love doesn't mean we have to share every space." I looked at my daughter, my beautiful, ambitious, lost daughter, and made a decision. "You're right," I said. "We don't have to share every space. But Savannah, every space has a price. And sweetheart," I touched her cheek gently, "you get what you pay for." The next morning, I opened my laptop and began my real work. Clover and Pine's public filings told a story of systematic failure dressed in marketing glitter. Their shrinkage rates were astronomical, nearly double industry standard. Their contracts with logistics providers had been renegotiated 3 times in 18 months, each time at worse terms. And there, buried in a footnote on page 97 of their latest quarterly report, Haven Rock Capital's stake was available for strategic acquisition, pending the right offer. I smiled for the first time in weeks and reached for my phone. It was time to remind certain people why I'd been very, very good at my job. The conference room at Patricia Lang's law office smelled like leather and possibility. I'd assembled my team carefully, Patricia herself, a razor-sharp M&A attorney who'd left big law to run her own firm, Diego Hart, a supply chain consultant who'd worked with me at Meridian, and Marla Quinn, an angel investor who'd made her fortune fixing broken food distribution companies. "Clover and Pine is dying," I said, spreading financial documents across the mahogany table. "But it's dying of stupidity, not inevitability." Diego whistled low, scanning the logistics reports. Their cold chain efficiency is at 62%. That's not just bad, that's lawsuit waiting to happen bad. They're spending $4 million annually on agency fees and influencer partnerships, Marla added, highlighting numbers with surgical precision. Meanwhile, they're losing $6 million in spoilage and inventory write-offs. The marketing department is run by Cole Mercer, I said. My future son-in-law. Patricia looked up sharply. Conflict of interest. Only if I were doing this for personal gain. I'm doing it for professional satisfaction. There's a difference. Thin line, Patricia warned. I'll walk it perfectly. We spent 3 days building the acquisition model. I liquidated half my retirement savings and secured lending commitments for the rest. Marla brought in 2 silent partners who trusted her instincts. We incorporated North Star Ridge Holdings in Delaware clean. Simple. Anonymous. The key insight came from studying their vendor contracts. Clover and Pine had alienated every local supplier within 100 miles by demanding 90-day payment terms while paying agencies within 15. The regional farms and producers were desperate for a reliable partner. We guarantee 30-day payment to all local suppliers, I proposed. In exchange, they give us exclusive distribution rights for 18 months. That's aggressive, Diego said. That's survival. Haven Rock wants out before the next quarterly report shows the full damage. We offer them a clean exit with no publicity. Patricia drafted the offer. We valued Clover and Pine at $12 million, a fraction of Haven Rock's original investment, but more than they'd get in bankruptcy proceedings, which Diego estimated were 8 months away without intervention. The negotiation took place in Haven Rock's Philadelphia offices. I wore my best suit, still from Macy's, still 6 years old, still perfectly adequate. The 3 Haven Rock partners looked like they'd swallowed broken glass. The offer is insulting, said James Whitfield, Haven Rock's managing partner. The offer is mathematics, I replied, sliding Diego's analysis across the table. Your burn rate is $800,000 monthly. Your credit line expires in 6 weeks. Renegotiation requires updated financials, which will show your Q4 losses. No bank will extend. You've done your homework. I always do. It's why your background check on North Star Ridge came back so clean. Whitfield's eye twitched. They had run a check. Patricia had flagged it immediately. What's your real interest here? He asked. I see a company that forgot its purpose. Food retail isn't about celebrity partnerships and Instagram metrics. It's about getting quality products to consumers efficiently. Every dollar wasted on vanity is a dollar not spent on the cold chain that keeps food safe. That's a lovely speech. But I also commit to keeping all store-level employees for minimum 18 months, no closures for 12 months, and I'll honor all existing pension obligations. That changed the room's temperature. Haven Rock had been planning massive layoffs to cut losses. How do you plan to stop the bleeding? Whitfield asked. First, I cut the marketing budget by 70%. That's $3 million in immediate savings. Second, I renegotiate every logistics contract your current team got taken to the cleaners because they don't understand supply chain. Third, I launch a private label focused on local sourcing, 40% margins instead of 20%. And your management team, already assembled, all industry veterans who actually understand food retail. Marla had coached me on this moment. Don't oversell. Let them think they're winning by getting out clean. Whitfield looked at his partners. We need the weekend to discuss. You have 24 hours, I said, standing. After that, I take my offer to your creditors directly and buy the debt at 30 cents on the dollar. Your equity becomes worthless. Patricia gathered our documents. As we reached the door, Whitfield spoke. You're Eleanor Whitaker. You ran supply chain for Meridian. I turned. Yes. I heard you were brilliant. Also heard you got forced out in the restructuring. I retired. Nobody who negotiates like this retires voluntarily. He studied me. This is personal. Everything in business is personal. Mr. Whitfield. The difference is whether you let it make you stupid or smart. The call came that evening at 8:47. Patricia answered on speaker. North Star Ridge's offer is accepted, Whitfield said. With conditions. We're listening. The transition happens immediately but quietly. No press release for 30 days. We need time to manage our other portfolio companies. Agreed. And Mrs. Whitaker, I assume you'll be taking an active role. CEO for the first year. I confirmed. Until systems are stabilized. Your daughter works for us. In marketing. I'm aware. That could be complicated. Mr. Whitfield. I've been handling complicated for 40 years. I think I can manage. After we hung up, Patricia poured scotch, the good stuff she saved for closed deals. You know coal's going to be a problem, she said. I'm counting on it. And Savannah. I stared at the amber liquid in my glass. She's about to learn that dignity isn't about the price tag on your dress or the logo on your handbag. It's about understanding value, real value, and never apologizing for recognizing it. The marketing department at Clover and Pine occupied the entire 7th floor glass offices, exposed brick, and enough MacBooks to fund a small school district. I visited twice before the acquisition closed, posing as a vendor consultant Patricia had arranged. Both times. I watched Cole Mercer perform his peculiar dance of corporate peacocking. We're disrupting grocery retail through influence architecture. He told a room of young executives who nodded like dashboard bobbleheads. Traditional metrics are dead. It's about emotional bandwidth now. I sat in the back, taking notes on my yellow legal pad, while he presented slides showing exponential growth trajectories that were actually just Excel charts with manipulated axes. Savannah sat to his right, transcribing his wisdom like a courtroom stenographer. But the real education came from Linda Zhao, a junior analyst who'd been relegated to managing actual vendor relationships while Cole played with his influence architecture. These invoices don't match, Linda said during a break, showing me a stack of papers. Apex Creative billed us for 20 influencer posts last month, but I can only find 12, and 6 of those had engagement rates below 2%. Have you reported this? She laughed bitterly. To whom Cole signs off on all marketing expenditures. He says I don't understand the nuanced metrics of modern marketing. I photocopied everything. Diego's investigation went deeper. He created a shell vendor company called Meridian Solutions and submitted a proposal for integrated marketing services. The proposal was deliberately inflated 30% above market rate with vague deliverables. Cole bit immediately. We need vendors who understand our vision, he said during the follow-up call, which we recorded legally under Pennsylvania's single-party consent law. The standard kickback is 15%, but for the right partnership, we can be flexible. Kickback, Diego asked innocently. Commission, finder's fee. Call it whatever makes you comfortable. The invoice shows your full rate. You handle the difference privately. My LLC is Mercer Consulting Group. Patricia nearly danced when she heard the recording. That's conspiracy to commit fraud, clear as day. We need more, I said. One recording could be explained away. I want a pattern. Over 2 weeks, we documented 17 vendors, 3 million in inflated invoices, and 400,000 in consulting fees to Coles LLC. But the masterstroke came from an unexpected source, his own assistant, Trevor, who'd grown tired of being treated like furniture. He had me set up fake social media accounts, Trevor told Patricia during a carefully lawyered meeting. Bought followers, engagement, the works. Then he'd screenshot the metrics for board presentations, said it was growth hacking. Will you testify to this? With whistleblower protection, absolutely. Meanwhile, I maintained my cover, even attending a vendor appreciation mixer where Cole held court at the open bar. Savannah found me examining the appetizer spread with what she assumed was my usual poor person fascination. Mum, what are you doing here? Consulting, I said truthfully. The food pantry connected me with a logistics firm doing community work. She pulled me aside, mortified. You cannot be here. These are my colleagues. I'm working. Savannah? This isn't work. This is... She gestured at my lanyard. This is embarrassing. Cole's trying to close a major campaign with Lux Foods. If they see his fiancée's mother hovering around the shrimp like someone who understands that those shrimp cost $8 per pound wholesale and you're being charged $24 on the catering invoice. She blinked. What? Nothing. I'll leave. But as I gathered my coat, Cole appeared, 3 drinks deep and feeling expansive. Nora, our favourite coupon queen. Did Savannah tell you about our new campaign, $2 million integrated partnership with celebrity chef Marcus Romano? He's going to revolutionize how people think about organic produce. Marcus Romano filed for bankruptcy last year, I said mildly. Personal brand restructuring. He's pivoting to authentic sustainability. He was caught selling conventional vegetables as organic at his restaurants. Cole's smile hardened. You wouldn't understand the complexities of modern brand rehabilitation. I understand that $2 million could upgrade your entire cold storage system and prevent the $40,000 in produce you lost last week. The silence stretched like pulled taffy. Cole's face went through several colors. How did you... Vendor gossip, I said. Truck drivers talk, especially when they have to dump entire loads because someone forgot to maintain the refrigeration units while spending money on celebrity partnerships. Mom, Savannah hissed. Stop. You're right, I said. I should go. As I walked to the elevator, I heard Cole say, This is why we don't invite certain people to professional events. I heard Savannah's response, too. I know. I'm sorry. She doesn't get it. Patricia met me in the parking garage. Did you get it? She asked. I handed her my phone. The entire conversation was recorded, including Cole's admission about the Romano deal, which our investigation showed included a $100,000 personal payment to Cole's consulting firm. The acquisition closes Monday, Patricia said. Legal will need the weekend to prepare the termination packages. No termination until I'm in the building, I said. I want to do this properly. You want to do this dramatically? Patricia. My daughter stood there and apologized for my existence, while her fiancé steals from the company she claims to love. Yes, I want drama. I've earned it. Patricia smiled. Monday, 9 a.m. sharp. The board meeting is scheduled. HR will be ready. I looked back at the gleaming Clover and Pine building, where my daughter was probably still apologizing for me. Perfect, I said. Absolutely perfect. The final negotiations with Haven Rock took place in a private dining room at the Union Club. James Whitfield had assembled his full team, clearly expecting to extract last-minute concessions. I arrived alone, carrying a single leather portfolio. "Mrs. Whitaker," Whitfield began, "we've reconsidered some terms." "No, I beg your pardon. No reconsideration. The deal stands as written, or I walk. Your creditors are holding an emergency meeting at 2 p. today. I have a conference call with them at 2:30. You're bluffing." I slid him a screenshot of the meeting invitation from First National Bank's Commercial Lending Division. "Jonathan Reeves is particularly interested in my offer to buy the debt directly. Seems Haven Rock hasn't been entirely transparent about Clover and Pine's performance in your portfolio reports." Whitfield's jaw tightened. "That's aggressive. That's leverage. Something your marketing department could learn about real leverage, not manufactured social media metrics." "Speaking of marketing," another partner interjected, "we're concerned about leadership transition. Cole Mercer has relationships with major brands." "Cole Mercer has relationships with his own bank account," I replied, placing a folder on the table. 17 vendors, 3 million in inflated invoices, 400,000 in kickbacks, all documented. The room went silent. "You knew?" Whitfield asked. "I know everything worth knowing about this company, including the fact that you've been trying to sell for 8 months, not 3. Including that your limited partners are threatening to sue. Including that Cole's celebrity chef deal involves a Cayman Islands payment structure that the IRS would find fascinating. If this comes out, it won't. Cole resigns quietly for personal opportunities. You get your clean exit. I get a company to fix. Everyone wins except the people who've been stealing." Whitfield studied me for a long moment. "You could have led with this. Gotten a better price." "I offered a fair price. I don't need to destroy people to win. I just need them to stop destroying value. And your daughter will learn that integrity isn't negotiable." The papers were signed by noon. I officially became CEO of Clover and Pine Markets, though the announcement wouldn't be made until Monday's board meeting. I spent the weekend preparing 2 things: my strategic plan and my emotional armor. Diego and Marla worked with me at Patricia's office, building the presentation that would reshape the company. We identified 80 million in recoverable value over 5 years, 40 million from supply chain optimization, 20 million from private label development, 20 million from eliminating marketing waste. The local supplier contracts are key, Diego emphasized. 30-day payment terms in exchange for exclusive distribution. We'll have the only reliable organic produce chain in the region. "And the community fund?" Marla asked. 1% of every transaction goes to local food pantries. Not charity brand building, real brand building, with actual community connection. Sunday evening. I stood in my small apartment, looking at the Macy's dress I'd worn to Savannah's engagement party. Tomorrow, I'd wear it again. Let them see exactly who was taking control. My phone buzzed. "Savannah." "Mum? Are you free for lunch tomorrow? Cole has this huge presentation for the board, and I'm nervous. Could use some motherly support." "I have a work commitment." "On a Monday morning, Mum? The pantry doesn't even open until noon." "Different kind of work." "Can't you reschedule? This is important to me." I thought about 26 years of raising her, of teaching her to tie her shoes and ride a bike and write thank you notes. Somewhere along the way, She'd learned all the wrong lessons. I'll try to make it work. I lied. Thanks. Oh, and Mom, maybe wear something. Professional. Some of the board members might be around and first impressions matter. Yes, I said quietly. They do? I didn't sleep that night. Instead, I reviewed every document, every contract, every piece of evidence. Patricia had prepared the legal framework employment contracts ready for signature, termination letters drafted, security protocols in place. At 6 a.m., I met with Harold Brenner, Clover and Pine's head of security. Patricia had already briefed him. When I give the signal, Cole Mercer's access is revoked immediately, I instructed. Building, parking, digital systems, everything. Understood. No drama, no scenes, professional and quiet. Yes, ma'am. I arrived at the building at 8:15, entering through the loading dock where I'd once been embarrassed to be seen with my discount groceries. The security guard there, Anthony, did a double take. Mrs. Whitaker, you're on the vendor list, but... There's been a change, I said, showing him the ownership documents. I'll need a new access badge. He read the papers twice, then looked at me with something approaching awe. You bought the company. I bought the company. The whole thing, 67%. Employees will own another 15% through the ESOP we're establishing. Does Miss Savannah know? She's about to. He handed me an executive access badge, gold-trimmed and weightless. Good luck, ma'am. Luck has nothing to do with it. The boardroom was on the top floor, all glass and chrome and designer anxiety. Haven Rock's representatives were already there, along with the department heads. Cole had commandeered the presentation screen, his quarterly marketing report queued up. Savannah sat beside him, wearing a cream suit that cost more than most people's rent. At 8:59, I walked in. The boardroom fell silent as I entered. Cole looked up from his laptop, irritation flashing across his face. Excuse me. This is a closed meeting, he said. Vendor consultations are scheduled for this afternoon. I walked to the head of the table, my footsteps echoing on the polished floor. Savannah's eyes widened as she recognized my navy dress, the same one she'd criticized so many times. Mom. She half stood, confusion and embarrassment warring on her face. What are you doing here? James Whitfield rose from his seat. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce Eleanor Whitaker, CEO of North Star Ridge Holdings, and, as of 9 a.m. this morning, the majority owner of Clover and Pine Markets. The room erupted. Cole's laptop slipped from his fingers, saved only by the table edge. Savannah sank back into her chair, her face draining of color. This is a joke, Cole said. This has to be. Mr. Mercer, please sit down, I said, taking my place at the head of the table. My voice carried the same quiet authority I'd once used to negotiate million-dollar supply contracts. We have significant business to address. You can't, Savannah started. I did. And now we're going to fix this company before it bleeds to death from mismanagement and fraud. I opened my portfolio and pulled out the strategic plan. Effective immediately, the following changes are implemented. First, we're cutting 80% of our agency marketing budget. That's $3.2 million annually that will be redirected to infrastructure. Cole stood up. That's insane. Our brand partnerships are worthless, I interrupted. Your celebrity chef, Marcus Romano, has 47,000 Instagram followers. 39,000 are bots. I have the audit here. I slid the report across the table. Several board members leaned in to look. Second, we're terminating all vendor contracts that show pricing irregularities. Our forensic audit identified 17 vendors billing above market rate, resulting in annual overpayments of $800,000. You can't just terminate contracts, Cole protested. Clause 17.3 in each contract termination for cause, including pricing fraud. Patricia Lang entered the room on cue, wheeling a cart of documentation. Our legal team has prepared all necessary paperwork. Third, I continued, we're launching a private label line sourced exclusively from local farms and producers. 30-day payment terms in exchange for exclusive distribution rights. Diego Hart entered with his presentation materials. We've already secured commitments from 42 local suppliers. First products hit shelves in 3 weeks. Savannah found her voice. Mum, you can't just walk in here and forth, I said, not looking at her. We're establishing a community fund. 1% of all sales goes directly to local food pantries. Not as charity as brand building, real connection with real customers who actually shop in our stores. This is ridiculous, Cole said, his face flushing red. I'm calling Haven Rock directly. Please do, Whitfield said dryly. I'll save you the time we sold our entire stake to Mrs. Whitaker. Quite happily, I might add. I stood, walking to the presentation screen where Cole's marketing slides still glowed. Now, let's discuss the marketing department specifically. The slide showing exponential growth filled the screen. I clicked to my own presentation. This is actual traffic to our stores, down 12% year over year. This is actual basket size, down 8%. This is customer retention, down 15%. While Mr. Mercer was building influence architecture, our actual influence was evaporating. Those metrics don't capture, Cole began. But these metrics do? I clicked again. The screen filled with invoices, bank records, emails. $400,000 in kickbacks from vendors, documented, verified, and reported to appropriate authorities. The room went absolutely still. Patricia stepped forward. Mr. Mercer, this package contains your termination agreement. You can resign immediately with a basic severance, or we can pursue criminal charges. You have 5 minutes to decide. Cole's mouth opened and closed like a landed fish. Savannah. Tell them. Savannah was staring at me with a mixture of shock and something else, perhaps the first glimpse of understanding. Tell them what? She whispered. That you've been stealing while pretending to be successful. I was building something your mother doesn't understand, modern business. My mother just bought your company, Savannah said slowly. While you were making fun of her coupon clipping, she was arranging a corporate takeover. I finally looked directly at my daughter. Ms. Whitaker, your position is also under review. However, I'm offering you a choice. 6 months in our performance improvement program, working in-store operations, learning actual retail from the ground up, or resignation with standard severance. Mum, in this room, I'm Mrs. Whitaker, CEO, your decision. Her eyes filled with tears, but she didn't let them fall, for the first time in years. I saw the girl I'd raised, the one who'd fallen off her bike 7 times before finally riding it successfully. I'll take the performance improvement program, she said quietly. Cole exploded. You're taking her side after everything I've done for your career. What career? Savannah asked. I've been writing your reports and organizing your lies. That's not a career that's enabling. Security entered the room, Harold Brenner and 2 officers. Mr. Mercer, Harold said professionally. We'll escort you to clean out your office. Cole signed the termination agreement with shaking hands, his signature barely legible. As security led him out, he turned back. You'll fail, he said to me. This industry has evolved beyond your dinosaur understanding. Mr. Mercer, I replied calmly. I built supply chains that fed millions while you were still learning to spell synergy. This industry doesn't need evolution. It needs adults. The door closed behind him with a definitive click. After Cole's removal, the boardroom remained frozen until I spoke again. Patricia, please distribute the evidence files to all department heads. Patricia wheeled her cart around the table, placing thick folders in front of each stunned executive. The marketing team's faces went from confused to terrified as they recognized invoice numbers, email chains, and vendor contracts. Every document has been verified by our forensic accounting team, I continued. Some of you were unaware of the fraud. Others were complicit. HR has individual meetings scheduled this afternoon. Those who cooperated with illegal activities will be terminated. Those who were deceived have the opportunity to stay and rebuild. Linda Zhao, the junior analyst who'd first shown me the discrepancies, raised her hand tentatively. Ms. Zhao, what about the vendors who participated in the kickback schemes? Contracts terminated, funds recovered through legal action, and their names shared with the Pennsylvania Attorney General's office. I pulled up a new slide. We've already secured replacement vendors at market rates. The transition begins tomorrow. The screen showed a list of local suppliers' farms, dairies, bakeries, all within a 100-mile radius. This is impossible, said Martin Fuller, VP of Operations. Our infrastructure can't handle this many individual suppliers. Your current infrastructure can't, Diego corrected, standing up. Because it was designed for maximum complexity to justify consulting fees, we're implementing a hub-and-spoke model. Suppliers deliver to 3 regional centers. We handle final distribution, cuts transportation costs by 30%. I watched Savannah throughout this exchange. She sat rigidly, her hands folded, processing the complete dismantling of everything she'd believed about corporate success. Now, I said, let's discuss the marketing department's future. The remaining marketing staff shifted nervously. Effective immediately. All influencer partnerships are suspended pending audit. All agency contracts are under review. Marketing will report directly to me until we hire a new CMO, someone who understands that marketing means connecting products to customers, not manufacturing metrics. What about our current campaigns? Asked a young man in a designer suit. Show me the ROI. I said simply, not engagement rates or impression shares, actual return on investment. Sales driven, customers acquired, baskets increased. Silence. That's what I thought. Linda Zhao, you're interim head of marketing analytics. Your first job is to determine which campaigns actually drive store traffic. Keep those. Cancel everything else. Linda's eyes widened. Me. But I'm just someone who noticed 800,000 in fraudulent billing when your superiors were too busy playing with vanity metrics. That's exactly who I want. I turned back to the full room. Some of you are wondering if this is revenge, If I bought this company just to fire my daughter's fiancé and humiliate her publicly, several people looked away, confirming my suspicion. You're partially right. This is about values specifically. The value of honest work versus the illusion of success. My daughter forgot that distinction. Mr. Mercer never knew it existed. But this company, your jobs, your livelihoods, they're not collateral damage in a personal vendetta. They're the reason I'm here. I pulled up financial projections. Without intervention, Clover and Pine would file for bankruptcy within 8 months. 640 jobs lost. 42 stores closed. Communities left without access to quality food. The numbers scrolled past debt ratios, cash burn, inventory spoilage. With our restructuring, we project profitability within 18 months. All stores remain open. All frontline workers keep their jobs. And we become the first regional chain to guarantee living wages for all employees. How? Martin asked. The margins aren't there. The margins are there when you're not spending $2 million on a celebrity chef who filed for bankruptcy. They're there when you're not paying 30% above market rate for basic services. They're there when your cold chain actually works and you're not dumping $40,000 in product weekly. I clicked to the final slide, a photo of Cedar Glen Community Pantry. Every Clover and Pine location will partner with local food pantries. Not just donations, active partnerships, cooking classes, nutrition education, community gardens, real engagement with real people who really need food. That's not profitable, someone said. Amazon started as a bookstore. Walmart started as a 5 and dime. Every successful retailer started by serving their actual community, not some aspirational demographic that doesn't exist. We're going back to basics, feed people good food at fair prices. Revolutionary concept. I know. The meeting continued for another hour, department by department. We dissected the rot and planned the recovery. Through it all, Savannah remained silent, taking notes in the same leather portfolio she'd once used to record Cole's lies. Finally, Whitfield stood. I believe Haven Rock's involvement here is complete. Mrs. Whitaker, you have our full support and, frankly, our relief. This company might actually survive now. As the Haven Rock team filed out, Whitfield paused beside me. That was brutal, he said quietly. Also, brilliant. It was necessary. Your daughter. I glanced at Savannah, still seated, still processing. We'll learn that cheap groceries and expensive suits are both just costumes. What matters is who you are when the costumes come off. The room gradually emptied until only Savannah and I remained. She looked up. Mascara slightly smudged, but not running. 6 months in store operations? Starting tomorrow, 7 a.m. shift at the Mount Lebanon location. You'll work produce, then cashier, then inventory, 40 hours a week. Starting pay. Mum, I have a master's degree. You have a master's in communications, and you've been communicating lies. Time to learn some truth. She stood, gathering her things with the same precise movements she'd used to distance herself from me for years. Did you know? She asked. When you came to my apartment with those groceries? When Cole made those jokes, did you already know you were going to buy the company? No. I knew I was going to teach you both a lesson. The method revealed itself. She walked to the door, then turned back. The woman at the community pantry, Mrs. Rodriguez, she told me once that you were the smartest person she'd ever met. I laughed. And now? Now I understand why Dad always said you could run a Fortune 500 company if you wanted to. I never wanted to run a big company, I said. I wanted to raise a daughter who understood value. Looks like I'll get a second chance at that. Savannah's composure finally cracked, tears rolling down her carefully contoured cheeks. I'm sorry, Mum, for all of it. Apologies are words. I want to see actions. 7A Mount Lebanon store. Wear comfortable shoes? The transformation began immediately. By Tuesday morning, every Clover and Pine employee had received a detailed memo outlining the changes. By Wednesday, the first local suppliers were delivering to our distribution centers. By Thursday, Kohl's celebrity chef partnership was officially terminated, saving us $2 million that would go directly to upgrading our cold storage systems. I walked through the Mount Lebanon store at 6:45 a.m. on Savannah's first day. She was already there, wearing jeans and sneakers I'd never seen before, her hair pulled back in a simple ponytail. The designer handbags and carefully curated image had vanished overnight. You're early, I observed. I wanted to prove I could be. She paused. Also, I couldn't sleep. The produce manager, Roberto, a 20-year veteran whom corporate had ignored for a decade, looked between us uncertainly. Train her properly, I told him. No special treatment because she's my daughter. If anything, be harder on her. Yes, Mrs. Whitaker. I left Savannah learning to properly rotate stock first in, first out, while Roberto explained why bruised fruit went to the food pantry immediately, not the trash. Through the window, I saw her nodding earnestly, taking notes on a small pad instead of her phone. The next few weeks blurred together. Legal proceedings against fraudulent vendors, negotiations with local farms, technology upgrades that Kohl's budget had always mysteriously lacked funds for, the employee stock ownership program that would give workers a real stake in success. Patricia Lang called it the smoothest hostile takeover she'd ever seen. Hostile to whom? I asked. I'm saving jobs, not cutting them. The media found out in week 3. Discount Queen becomes retail royalty, a headline that missed the point entirely. I declined all interviews except one, with a local business journal that agreed to focus on the community partnership program. Marcus arrived one afternoon as I was reviewing financial reports in my deliberately modest office, the same size as any department head's. Mrs. Whitaker, the security guard from Savannah's building said, hat in hand. I wanted to thank you. For what? My niece works at your Shadyside store. She was going to be laid off before you bought the company. Now she's getting promoted to shift supervisor. Living wage, health benefits, stock options. That's life-changing. That's business done right, I corrected. Nothing more. 2 months in, I visited Mount Lebanon again. Savannah was working the register, chatting with an elderly customer about the best deals of the week. She looked up and saw me, offering a small smile before returning to her customer. No performance, no pretense, just work. Roberto pulled me aside. She's good. Really good. Customers love her. She remembers their names, their usual orders. Yesterday, she noticed Mrs. Palmer was buying less than usual and privately arranged for some extras to be delivered, paid from her own pocket. Don't tell her I know, I said. By month 4, our same-store sales were up 8%. The community fund had distributed $40,000 to local pantries. The new private label line, Simple, quality products at fair prices, exceeded projections by 30%. Haven Rock sent a congratulatory note. Cole's name appeared in a Justice Department filing about marketing fraud, and Savannah was promoted to Assistant Produce Manager, a position she'd earned without any intervention from me. The day I marked 6 months since the takeover, Savannah appeared in my office doorway. She looked different, not designer different, but substantial different. There was weight to her presence now, earned through actual work. "My performance improvement period is over," she said. "Yes. Roberto wants to promote me to produce buyer for the district. Says I have an eye for quality and a head for numbers. What do you want?" She sat down, uninvited but welcome. "I want to earn it, really earn it, not because I'm the CEO's daughter, but because I understand the value chain from farm to checkout. That could take years. I've got years." I pulled out a folder I'd been keeping photos from her childhood. Savannah at 5, proudly showing off the lemonade stand where she'd learned to make change. At 12, helping me balance the household budget on graph paper. At 16, volunteering at the food pantry before she decided it was embarrassing. "You always knew value," I said. "You just forgot for a while." "I forgot a lot of things." She picked up a photo from her college graduation, where I'd worn this same navy dress. "I was so embarrassed that day. You didn't look like the other mothers. And now I realize you looked exactly like what you were, someone who understood that education was an investment, not an Instagram opportunity." We sat quietly for a moment before she asked, "Do you regret it, using Dad's life insurance and your retirement savings to buy the company?" "Your father would have loved this," I said. "He always said the best revenge against disrespect was undeniable success." "Cole sent me a letter," she admitted. "Through his lawyer. Wants to reconcile." "And?" "I sent it back with a note. I get what I pay for, and you're bankrupt." I laughed, really laughed for the first time in months. That afternoon, I walked through our flagship store one last time as active CEO. Tomorrow, the professional CEO we'd hired would take over daily operations. I'd remain as board chair. But my point had been made. At the customer service desk, an elderly woman was checking out with our new private label items, good food at fair prices. She paid with cash, carefully counting exact change. "Thank you for shopping with us," the cashier said warmly. "Thank you for remembering that not everyone has unlimited budgets," the woman replied. I picked up a handbasket and did my shopping. Store-brand pasta, day-old bread from our bakery, marked-down produce that was perfectly good, but not Instagram perfect. The same groceries that had embarrassed my daughter 6 months ago. At checkout, Savannah was covering a break. She rang up my items without comment until the end. "Found everything you need, Mom." "Everything that matters," I said. She handed me my receipt and bags, the reusable ones from discount stores I'd always used. As I turned to leave, she added quietly, "See you for Sunday dinner?" "Mom, I'll bring groceries," I said. "Perfect. I'll help you clip coupons." The automatic doors swooshed open to the evening air behind me. The store hummed with honest commerce, real products for real people at real prices. No influencers, no fiction, no apologies. I walked to my 12-year-old Honda, loaded my groceries in the trunk, and drove home. Tomorrow, the business press would run their stories about the Cinderella CEO or the revenge of the coupon queen, or whatever narrative they'd decided would generate clicks. But tonight, I had groceries to put away and a daughter who'd finally learned their value. The circle was complete. The lesson was taught. and somewhere in a boardroom across town, executives were probably still wondering how a woman with discount groceries had bought their entire company. Let them wonder. Some of us had known our worth all along. Thank you so much for listening to this story. I'd love to know where you're tuning in from. Please share in the comments below so we can connect. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and let me know your thoughts. What would you have done in Nora's situation? Your insights make these stories even richer for our entire community.